All right, and we are live with another episode on the Off the Post Goes Grassroots series. For those of you who haven't looked at this before, the Grassroots series is something that I started just because I wanted to kind of investigate what the women's soccer pyramid was like underneath the NWSL level. So that kind of steered me toward the WPSL, and today I'm actually joined by Steel City FC over in Pittsburgh. I'll introduce myself first. I'm Jake, for everyone who doesn't know, and I will let our special guests introduce themselves, and I guess we'll start with Steph.
Hi, I'm Steph. I'm the founder of Steel City FC.
Great.
Hello, I'm Lauren. This is my second season playing for Steel City FC.
My name is Stephanie. This will be my first season playing with Steel City FC and my fifth season playing semi-pro women's soccer.
Great. And are you all local players or locally based in Pittsburgh?
I am.
Me too.
I'm originally from New York, but I'm here for grad school, so I linked up with Steph and the Steel City FC.
All right, great. All right, well, I guess I'll start with my first questions. First things first. Steph, you are the founder of the club. How did that all come to be? It kind of all came together kind of quickly, as I understand, back in 2014, right?
Yeah, that's when we kind of started our efforts. So I don't know, that's kind of a really hard question because it does feel like it kind of just happened. But basically, I played college soccer, and when I moved down to Pittsburgh for grad school, I realized that there were no high competitive level of soccer for women. There are great pickup teams locally, but there were no really competitive teams. And we actually have a couple of men's teams here in Pittsburgh. And I was like, well, wait, where are the women's teams? And there wasn't one. So we kind of just banded together and got a group of like-minded women and put it together.
Great. And if I was reading your bio, right, you started the team while you were still a graduate student. Is that true?
Yes. And I'm still a grad student now.
Oh my goodness. How did you find time to even undertake such a large task like that?
Well, I had a lot of help, that's for sure. But I think I'm just really passionate about growing the women's game and for women in our community to have the opportunity to do this. So I found time. Graduate school isn't as hard as it sounds.
Well, if you say so. I have a master's degree, and it was a 2-year slog, but it got done.
What year?
Anyways, so I guess I have a question regarding the Pittsburgh soccer scene. So are you originally from Pittsburgh? Is that how you were so well connected, or is it through your college connections at Chatham University or all the above?
Yeah, all the above. I'm originally from Butler, which is 45 minutes north of the city, and I played at a Division II college 2 hours away from Pittsburgh. So definitely from former teammates, former coaches, and then once I got to grad school, I was also helping coach at Chatham, which is a college right in the city. So I had some access to people through, coaching there briefly. So I guess, a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Awesome. And just kind of going back to last year, I know there was a women's national team game. Was that a big help in kind of boosting the name and getting the name out there to people in Pittsburgh?
Yes, it was. It was an awesome game, by the way. It was at Heinz Field, and it was packed, and it was just so much fun. It was a beautiful day. But I think so, yeah, I think we are really lucky to have Megan Klingenberg is from Pittsburgh, and she's been super supportive of our team, and her mom is actually on our board. So
oh, wow.
Yeah, we've been able to have that connection, and it's just so great to have someone like her who's obviously a superstar, but also so down to earth, kind of, help us out and give us some shout outs every now and again.
Great. And the first year was last year, correct?
Yeah, we're headed into our second season.
Great. All right. I guess I'll throw out some questions out to our guest players here. How did you both find the team, and why did you want to become a part of Steel City FC?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, Steph and I played in college together and are also best friends and lived together all 4 years of college. So it's not something that I really stumbled upon. She told me what she was doing, and I was like, that's awesome. That's exactly what Pittsburgh needs. And I was like, oh, I was looking for somewhere to play competitively still as well. We graduated the same year, so we were kind of both on the same page with that. And then she just kind of made it happen, and I tried out, and that was it. Yeah.
She made it.
My story's a little bit different. I actually looked up to see if there was any teams in the area before I came to grad school here, and there wasn't. And then I was at grad school at Chatham, and I went up to the field to kick a ball around in between classes, and I saw a bunch of girls with t-shirts that said Steel City FC on them. And they definitely looked older than high school, so I was like, well, this can't be just a high school club. And so I looked them up online, and I found out that Pittsburgh finally got its first women's semi-pro soccer team. So I emailed Steph, and I was like, hey, like, I know you guys already started your season. I can't really commit to traveling anyway, so can I at least practice with you? So I practiced with them last year, and this year I'll be on clinical rotation, so I'll have weekends free, so I can actually play with them this season. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Oh, great. And did you?
Yeah, we're pumped to have her. Both of them, yeah.
And do most of the players come through the tryout system, or is it kind of our coaches bringing you players as recommendations to place on the team?
It's all tryout, actually. So what I do is I reach out to all local coaches. And again, we're really lucky in Pittsburgh because we have a bunch of phenomenal colleges like right here. So we reach out to all the local coaches, tell them when tryouts are, and then we just post it on social media, and boom, tons of people show up.
And then a lot of the players too that are local know other players, and they contact them and say, hey, come to practice and do a tryout at practice. So everyone actually has to try out, even returning players from last year. Each year we have to try out and prove that we're worth it to be on the team that year.
Cool. So it's very word of mouth, it sounds like.
Oh, for sure.
And then the coaching staff, there are a couple co-head coaches. Is that what I read on the website?
That's exactly what you read. We actually have 3 coaches right now. So Kelly Mahalko is one, Betsy Warren, and Blair Gantz. So there's 3 co-head coaches. And the reason for that is so we're a nonprofit. That's how our team operates. So it's all on a volunteer basis. And, people have full-time jobs that they're working. And so having 3 volunteer coaches kind of works out. I mean, they're really dedicated, obviously, and they're really great coaches. We're lucky to have them. But having them share kind of the duties that it takes, once we get into the season, it moves really fast. So it kind of works out for us to have a few coaches, a couple sets of eyes. So
it's really cool too. I've never been on a team with multiple head coaches. I've always had a head coach and coaches, but they all bring something different to the table, and they're all really positive. So depending on who's taking the lead on the session that day, depends on a different focus that we have for that day. And they're all very respectable in their own right. So they're able to grab the girls' attention no matter who's leading the practice. But it's cool because you get different drills all the time, and you get a different perspective from each coach, and they're all more than qualified for the job.
Very cool. So for the players again, what's it like training each week? Is it a 5-day-a-week training schedule? And sometimes weekend games have double headers, Saturday, Sunday, back to back. What's it like as a player playing in the league?
Well, we only train on Tuesdays and Thursdays just because there are so many games you kind of do need a break. I know a lot of the girls, it's a pretty high level, so people are doing things on their own. I know a lot of times people are going and lifting before practice, and they're doing things on their own on the off days. And the fact that our coaches do, like we said, volunteer and come in, we can't really do 5 days a week. I think that's just maybe too big of a commitment. So we train 2 days a week, and then people do stuff on their own. And then, the game, our first week of games this weekend is Sunday, Wednesday, and then Saturday. Yeah. So it's just right into it. So it's a lot on your body as well. So 2 days a week is, I think, enough.
Just a quick note. Your first game is against Motor City, and I will actually be at that game. So
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah,
Are you going to be wearing a Steel City shirt?
I don't own one, so.
Well, give me one.
Well, I'll have to catch up with you guys at the game. But yeah, I live in Toledo, Ohio, and our channel founder, DJ, he lives in Detroit. So we're going to meet up and head to that game. So
That's awesome.
That's exciting.
So,
yeah, that's awesome.
One fan.
yeah, one familiar face in the crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go into some specific questions for the players here. I'll start with Steph. So you were a member of the Albany Alley Cats back in 2011. How has the league kind of changed since your start back in the day in 2011?
Oh wow. So back then, the actual professional level has changed a lot, and that's affected the semi-pro level. So you've got the WPSL and the W League, and at one point they were very even, and then the women's professional team, the women's professional league, came about again, and this time it's got a lot better roots, and it's definitely going to stay around. People are going to the games, which is awesome, and in part largely due to the U.S. Women's National Team success. So that actually drew a lot of the talent that was there out, and it left some imbalances in the semi-pro league. So now they're finally starting to balance out again, and you're getting a lot of the draw from the college players because they're realizing, hey, I can play after college now. So now they're starting to come into it, and it's definitely raising the competition level a lot. And the league that we're in right now, this division, you're gonna see some great competition compared to back then when some high school teams were entering just to compete. So now you're getting a lot of the higher level players and the older players, the more talented, more mature players.
Well, excellent. Another question for you real quick. I saw that you were actually assistant coach at Marietta College. Just a fun fact, that's my dad's hometown, so I'm very familiar with it.
Nice!
Yeah, I'm all over here. So how was it like as a assistant coach there, and how did that shape your experience as a player, I guess, now coming back into in your playing days, I guess?
It allowed me to really take a step back as a player and really see the full field and the full picture. I'm able to analyze a setup a lot easier because you strategize as a coach as how to break teams down and how to break systems down and to really analyze and judge players. I hate to say it, but you can notice weaknesses and you can strategize a lot better as a player when you step back and just watch the game. And that's what it allows me to do as a coach. And it allows me to communicate now with my teammates a lot better and more effectively as to how we can work together and just take a team on as a whole versus individually.
Great. Do you favor one over the other, coaching versus playing?
There's nothing like playing. Playing's definitely an adrenaline rush. The nerd in me likes to strategize, but I'm about 95% athlete and 5% nerd, so I would love to play and compete any day.
Great. Just a general question, but are there a lot of players on the team that coach in there as a side job, and are there a lot of kind of mix and matching with that?
Yeah, I think a lot of the college players take on roles coaching the youth teams, and then a lot of the players that have gone beyond college will also either take on youth teams or else like Jordan here coaches at Chatham. So you definitely see players that like to stick around the game and then give back to the younger generations.
We also have like a couple teachers on our team that coach like their like high school's team or their middle school's team or something like that. So I think actually quite a few of the girls do also coach.
Great. All right, question for Jordan here. Okay. So I read that you spent a year in Scotland and you spent a year with Hamilton Academical. Is that true?
Yeah, for one year. It was kind of like two halves of seasons because which usually makes a whole, but it didn't in this case. Their season goes from like February until about November. So I got there to start my school. I got my master's there at the University of the West of Scotland. Yeah, no, I got there in like September to start for school, and I was like just looking for teams to try. I didn't know anyone. I was looking for teams to try out for. I just happened to meet the right people, tried out and played for them. So for the rest of that season, then I started with them in the winter, but then I came back in June of like last year, end of May. I think Labor Day or Memorial Day weekend. So I came back in the end of May. So I played for the first half with them. But yeah, that was a good experience for sure.
And what was the level compared to back home?
I would probably compare it maybe to like Division 2. It depends on what team you're playing. The league, so I was in the Scottish Women's Premier League, and with that league, so there's like definitely like a top half of the league and then a bottom half of the league. Hamilton Ackies at that time were always like the very top half of the bottom half, or very top of the bottom half. So, but still, like the teams that we would play, like Glasgow City is really good. Like they're in like the Champions League. They're amazing. They're so a different level. And like Hibs ladies are really good. Rangers are really good. So you got to play against some really good teams, and we had some really good players on our team. So it was definitely a good experience. The style's a lot different. It was a lot more direct, a lot more. We did one-on-ones a lot in practice, like way more than I've ever done over here, which was good because people weren't afraid to take people on. So it was good to experience that different style of play, especially I'm a forward, so that was something that was really good for me. To experience, but hard to understand them at training. Anytime they were yelling, I didn't tell me, okay, run faster.
Awesome. I guess another style question for you. Since you're from the Pittsburgh area, got kind of an existential question. You know, I have a theory that where we grow up and what city you're from kind of impacts the style of play that you develop. I come from a very rural, like football country, Northwest Ohio here. That's, very, like, we're very tough and athletic, and we don't have the same flair and technical ability that you might see in like an urban area. Do you think that Pittsburgh creates a certain type of player, or has the city shaped the way that you play at all?
I think so. Yeah, I'm also from a very rural area. I actually didn't have a girls' high school team, so I played on the boys' team.
Wow.
So yeah, no, and it was a lot more like physical, a lot more direct, and I think that sort of translates, like being like actually into the city. Like I think there's a lot more clubs, there's a lot more coaching. It's getting a lot bigger here. So I think our style maybe is changing a little bit from being so direct to being a little bit more. Like a little bit more, like I don't want to say fancy, but more like organized. I guess is a good word.
That's a good word, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Pittsburgh is like a gritty city.
Yeah.
I think like totally gritty. That's why I love it. I mean, I'm from here, but I love Pittsburgh. I think it's an amazing city. It's like a steel town, like grit feel.
Yeah, Rust Belt swagger to it.
Yeah.
It's just a sports town.
It is. And I feel like there are definitely some players on our team that, like, I don't know, grit could be their middle name. Like they're not afraid to like put their bodies on the line or like be very, very physical. And that's my favorite kind of player.
Pittsburgh is a sports town. They have all sorts of sports teams here, and everybody is a diehard sports fan, whether or not they've played sports their whole life or not. Like they will go to bat for the Steelers, like they'll go to bat for the Pens, like, and that translates into every single person. Like when you can tell on our team which girls are from Pittsburgh because they are just competitors. They do what they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And does that kind of translate to the style that Steel City really tries to exhibit on the field?
I think so.
I think so too.
Definitely.
I think so too. I think it's cool because with the coaches that we have, I think they're all different, as Steph mentioned, but kind of the same, kind of favoring the same type of player. And it's the kind of player that I really like. Not necessarily the most technical or whatever, like fancy, like making it look beautiful, but like players who will, do a diving header to like try and get something on the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it. And I think we have basically everyone on our team is like that, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I actually asked I had the Motor City head coach on last episode, and I asked him the same question, and he was he answered it differently. He said that it was more of a coach's mentality that was instilled on players versus perhaps like a city influence. But it's interesting to get the different perspectives. So
it is.
Yeah. All right. Question for for Steph Harrison. So I saw today on the website, the WPSL website, that 15% of the league is owned by women, and as you are the founder of Steel City, you're included in that.
Yeah.
Do you take pride in the fact that you have undertaken this, and that the league has had so many teams that started with women kind of getting the ball rolling and taking it on?
Yeah, I'm definitely really proud. It just kind of worked out this way. Our team is run completely by women, actually.
Yeah, I was going to ask that too. But.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. It is interesting when you go to the WPSL annual meeting and there are still a ton of men there, and that's fine. It's great, but this is a women's league, and I really appreciate the men's teams that we have here in Pittsburgh, but I wanted to create this opportunity for the women in our area. And so there are phenomenal female coaches here to be on board, and they are on board. And I'm happy that I'm representing this awesome club. So happens that I'm a lady. That's great too. And I can go to the WPSL, and I've met some of the other women owners, and they've been super supportive and are just like, I don't want to swear, but ladies is the best. Wendy Loku, I think that's how you say her last name, from Kansas City. She's been very helpful for me. Just a great person.
And have other owners come to you trying to get advice and input on how to start things?
Yes, and I never know what to say because I don't even know. It's very hard to give advice. You have to wear many different hats and kind of put yourself in situations that you've never done before. Take it one day at a time, I guess.
I'm sure every club's different too.
Yeah.
Every area has a different following, a different soccer population, so it depends on who they know.
Right.
Yeah, one of the hardest things to get would be sponsors, and that's what really sort of helps keep clubs afloat, really.
Yeah. So in Pittsburgh, we operate as a nonprofit. Steel City does. So we rely. We have a really awesome medical center here, UPMC, and before we even started their sports medicine program, kind of heard of us through the grapevine, and they were like, hey, can we help in any way? And so having them jump on board was a huge part of our success and why we're still going. So shout out to them.
I saw last month that you guys had a Bowlingbrenner event. Is that a fundraising event that you've done before in the past? And is that a typical fundraising event that kind of helps keep things going?
That's going to be an annual event because it was so fun. So we have, there's a chain of diners in Pittsburgh called Pamela's. And there's one in the city in which I live, Millvale. And I know the owner because I worked there through graduate school. And she was kind enough to kind of set this up and offer her services. And they're an extremely popular chain. It's a breakfast. So good. If you ever come to Pittsburgh, you have to try. But yeah, so downstairs there's like an old school diner with pancakes, and upstairs there's bowling. And I think it was a hit. So we're definitely going to make it an annual thing. When the players worked, they were serving hot cakes and milkshakes.
Yeah, I got to make milkshakes. Katie Hogan went a little crazy and ended up getting milkshake all up in her hair. And
she actually got hired there though, which is kind of hilarious. Yeah. So it worked out for everyone.
Yeah.
Fill out the application like there, like that.
Yeah. She filled it out there and she got hired on the spot. So
that's so random.
Our players have many talents.
So did the players get to go out into the community a lot and help promote the team with like camps or anything like that during the off season?
Yes. They do. Well, as I mentioned, so part of our mission as a nonprofit is to get into the community, especially areas where kids might not have access to soccer, or at least like club level training. So we really want to get ourselves out there and also just serve as strong female role models for the young girls in our community. So we have a couple of things set up. Jordan, you can talk about the one in Wilkinsburg if you want.
Yeah, there's a place in Pittsburgh's a weird setup. It's just like a bunch of little neighborhoods. So all of the places that we're naming, like Millvale and Wilkinsburg, they're all like in the city of Pittsburgh, but it's just like a bunch of neighborhoods clumped together. So the Wilkinsburg Boys and Girls Clubs, like we'll go there every once in a while, and they have sort of like an after school program, and we'll just like go there and pretty much just like teach them like basic soccer skills and have fun with them, and just play with them and like teach them how to play the game and basically hang out with them and also play soccer. So it's kind of like, it's a cool opportunity to sort of like bond with like people in the community that like you wouldn't necessarily get to work with in another capacity.
And Pittsburgh's a great cultural hub, and there's so many great female athletes in the area. So we're able to link up with all those other athletes and support them and just support women's sports here in general. So they actually have the Pittsburgh Passion women's football team, and they're awesome. They win their league. Yeah. They beat teams like 50-0. Like, they're incredible.
It's tackle football. It's women's tackle football.
Oh my gosh.
We've got a women's rugby team. They might even have their own little league within Pittsburgh, and then a bigger league as well. There's a women's roller derby team. There's just a lot of things going on with great women's athletes, and we're able to connect with them and go and support them when they do their fundraisers. They come and support us at our fundraisers, at our games. And so there's a great environment for women's sports here.
For sure. Yeah, good point.
Oh, that's awesome. I love the idea of building the community up around sports teams like that, and getting everyone involved. And
yeah, well, I think for so long, like growing up, I mean, it's amazing that we have like the Penguins and the Steelers. We all love them, of course. Well, you might not, but we do.
I married into a Steelers family, so I.
Yes. And so that's great. I grew up watching them on TV, but to now have kind of female athletes for the younger girls in our community to also look up to, I think is super cool. I would have never dreamed of playing tackle football when I was like a little girl. Mm-hmm. And now my niece, actually, I have a niece that's 10 years old, and she told me, she's like, I think I want to play tackle football when I get older. Yes. Of course, she'll play for Steel City too, but that's her backup.
Well, awesome. So I guess kind of shifting gears to 2016, how's the preseason going? Are you guys done with tryouts now and roster's set, and are you guys ready to go for the first weekend?
I can't believe it's here. That I'm like shocked that our first game is on Sunday. It goes so fast. So there's still a few roster spots available. So we had our practices this week. We held them as open practices. So of course we had our full squad there and had some people trying out. So we'll see how that goes. For the most part, our roster's set. We have a bunch of returning players from last year, which I think is great, obviously, because we had a pretty successful first season. Couple new faces that I'm excited about. You never know. Until the first game, you never know until how you're going to stack up in the division. And obviously, this is a new division for us. So I'm excited. I think we have a great team.
Yeah, last year, you guys just missed out on the playoffs, right?
Yeah, it was kind of a weird situation. Well, I'll just leave it at that. We did. We finished second in our division, right behind Buffalo, who was they're a great team. So we always had a lot of fun playing them. So we were happy that to see them move on. But we're ready to go to playoffs this year. And the national finals are in Columbus, I think.
Yep, I already have my ticket.
To make it, like this is the year to make it. The year.
I know. Just fate. I started this series up, and then like the next week, I saw that the Columbus Eagles were hosting the final. So I will be down there for that game as well. So hopefully you get to see some familiar faces from you guys. But yeah, I guess last question: do you guys have any specific predictions for 2016 going forward?
I think it'll be a great year to get the name out there. I mean, we're going into a better division this year. We're playing against we're playing against a lot higher level competition, and then some of the teams that we're playing on have players from like from Penn State, and that's right here in Pennsylvania. So to be able to then get our name out there as a club and see that there's maybe an option a little bit closer to home would be nice to then be able to draw in some more players to the future. So I mean, the club is still really young, and so it's just opening up a lot of doors and opportunities.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like what Steph said earlier was kind of like last year, like everything just kind of did happen so quickly, and it was almost like sort of feeling everything out and like figuring it out, some things out as we went. So now that we've like laid that foundation, I think now it's just about like continuing to build and like continuing to look towards the future, and like bringing in new players and just making it bigger.
Yeah. Great. Well, before we leave, can you tell everyone where to look for home games and when that will be?
Yes. Okay. SteelCityFC.com. Our schedule's up. Anyone local listening, we play at the Ellis School, which is an all-girls high school in Shadyside. That's where we play. That's our home field. Check us out. Support us. You can buy T-shirts. Or if you're not local, support your local women's team. I think, we're all working towards the same goal to grow the women's game. So even if you're rooting against us, you should go. As long as you're rooting.
Well, this was awesome. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to chat with me today. And I think this is a really good segment. And, hopefully people kind of get to see that, there are people really putting in the hard work at the lower levels to really promote the game. It's not just, NWSL or die type of a mentality. There's a lot more markets than those 10,
Thank you so much for having us and helping spread the word.
All right. And to sign off, everyone on the channel, we always do this cheesy wave. So if you want to join me doing it. All right. Thanks, guys. And we'll hopefully see you Sunday.